Hey guys, this is Mr. Perryman with your reading lesson for the week. Sorry, I'm a day late. I was a day late last week. I know things have been crazy. I got grades in for most everybody. Everyone should be kind of accurate. So if you're wondering about grades, if you've seen your grade, if you have a bad grade, it's probably because I don't have something from you, or you actually just did really bad on it. I mean, honestly, that's about all I can give you. Here's the thing: if you ever want to make a grade up for me in my class, ask me, and I will give you something to do that. I truly will. I will always help you out. I'm all for you showing me your best. The biggest reason that people have poor grades in all my classes, including online and in school, is just effort. It's not because they can't do the work. It's just because they aren't literally putting the effort into the work. And effort's probably the biggest part of your grade. Um, so moving on from there, we're going to go into what we're doing this week. This week, we're not going to do anything out of the reading book. I said last week we would, but I changed my mind kind of on a whim. We're going to instead discuss some ideas about theme and what theme is and all that jazz. So this is a pretty short lesson. I won't lie. I'll show you kind of real quick after we go through the lesson what are to find your assignments for this week. You have two assignments this week, and they are both just they're going to be on something called Common Lit, which you guys have probably used before here at Kirksey. And you'll log into Common Lit. I've already got you into a classroom. You don't even really have to log on. You're already assigned. You just have to click the link that I'll provide, and you're good to go. And you go in and answer the questions. But I'll show you how that works at the end of the video. But we're going to talk right now about theme. So, what exactly is theme? Theme is something we talk about all the time. You hear about it in English and in reading, um, all through school. You'll use it all of your life. You hear about it in books, movies, TV shows, magazines, everything, right? So, what exactly is theme? Theme is the big idea. Every book, every story you'll ever read has a theme to it. It's part of reading comprehension. And the theme is the big idea or the message from the author. It's what was the author trying to tell us? Why was the story written? It's not what the story was about. It's not the topic, it's the message. It's the lesson. It's what you walk away from the story with. And everything that's ever been written, every story, every movie, there's a theme to it. Theme, the reader's job is you have to understand what the author's trying to say. It's you have to figure it out. That's your job. It's no one else's. No one's going to tell you exactly. The writer seldom comes out and says, "Hey, reader, this is what I want you to get. This is the lesson I wanted you to learn." Right? We don't. Sometimes that does happen, but most of the time it doesn't. You got to be very careful. You have to pay attention to what's happening. So when you're reading something, I'll move my slide so you can actually see. When you're reading something, you as the reader, you need to make an inference and draw a conclusion about what the author is trying to express or say. And you guys know this. You guys know theme. You guys know to make an inference. Remember, an inference is a guess. I don't know something, I infer it. Right? Inference is just kind of guessing based off of what I've seen and what I've read. So it's our job to figure out what the author is trying to tell us. Why did it do that? There we go. Themes are usually, I'll move myself again. Themes are usually about the big ideas, right? They're about freedom, trust, friendship, good versus evil, much, much more, right? Old fairy tales all have a theme. That was the reason that fairy tales are written, was to teach children lessons about life. Goldilocks and the Three Bears is all about asking for something if you need it. Don't steal things, ask. If you need help, ask. Goldilocks instead went in and learned, or she went in and she stole things and she got in trouble. When really, if she was hungry and if she needed help, she could have just asked. She could have just waited for the bears to return instead of going in and stealing their stuff, right? Good versus evil is a big common one. I like to talk about Star Wars. Star Wars is all about good versus evil. It's all about the light side versus the dark side of the Force, right? It's all about Luke versus Vader. Who wins? Does good win or does evil win? And spoiler alert, good wins. Sorry guys, if you haven't seen Star Wars, that's on you by now. Theme is not common sense. It's not a summary. It's not about characters or specific people necessarily. And it's not like one or two or topics. It shouldn't be short. These things can be theme, but whenever you're talking about, especially when you write about it, and you don't have to write about it in this class necessarily, but theme isn't just like, oh, what was the theme of it? Love. What about love? There's a lot going on there, right? What about death? Theme is the message the author is the message from the author about a lifelong lesson. It's something so big you'll never forget it, and it's universal. Universal. This is really important for our class because let's look at this. Universal has actually some root words in it. If you'll notice, uni, right? Uni means one. So universal means that it applies to everybody or everyone, right? Universal. It applies to everything. So it should be able to apply to you and me, maybe in a different way, or at least it could apply to you and it could apply to me. And it's got to be like a complete thought. It's not, you're not just sitting there guessing. It's not just love. It's what about love? There's a lot of lessons to learn about love, a lot of lessons to learn about good versus evil. Right? So I have to erase that. Oops. Here's some examples. Are these good or bad? What do you think? Love. I just said that. It's not a good example. Is it a theme? Absolutely. Is it a good theme? No, it's not. It's too short. It's not very detailed. I don't know exactly what about love you're trying to tell me. This one, though, death is not only an ending, but also a chance for a new beginning when those who are still alive take the opportunity to learn from it. If they had just said death, I would say, cool, what about it? This is the what about it. This is more universal. This applies. This is saying that there's a chance for a new beginning when someone dies, right? There's still time to learn. Death isn't the end necessarily, is what this is trying to say. Our forest has many plants that heal. That is not a theme. It's just not. That's a fact. But this might be a paper written about forests that heal, but that's not the theme of it, right? That's just what the story was about. It's not the message we're trying to get to. So I'm going to stop the PowerPoint there. I have more slides, but they aren't super relevant for y'all. And here's what your assignments are this week. Your assignments are to go into Common Lit and do 2 reading assignments where you're going to read these papers and answer questions about it. Now I'm going to show you a little bit of how they work. So when you go into Google Classroom, you'll, do I have you guys pulled up already? I guess I don't. So when you go into Google Classroom, you'll have it pop up at the very top. I don't know if you can get in your classroom right now for virtual reading. So when I post all this lesson, you'll go to classwork and it'll say week 6 lessons and assignments. It'll say week 6, right? For this week, what you'll do is you'll click on the links in there that I'm providing. And what you'll do is you'll join. Oh, actually, I'm lying a little bit. They're going to be on your stream. So the links for the reading assignments will pop up on the stream over here, right? They'll also be in classwork, just not under this part. They'll be kind of up here. So click on both of them and do them. The first one you're going to do is this thing called, oh, this is the wrong one. Oops. Sorry, excuse me. The first one you're going to do is this one called Yeshi's Luck. Read this one first. It's a little bit easier. Go ahead and read it. So whenever you read it, though, when you click on it, it'll come up and look like this. My screen looks a little different, but what I like about Common Lit is you'll go in, click the link, sign in with your Google account. Then in your top right corner, once you're signed in, you're going to have this bell up here that'll have a number. Click on it because that'll have your assignments that'll take you right to what you need to do. As you're reading it, I have it set on this thing called guided reading questions. As you read, on mine, I can see the whole thing, right? It's not very long. It's only, 47 lines long total. It's not a long story. As you read, it'll stop you and it'll have you answer a question. You need to answer the question before you can continue reading. These are not for points. This is just so that you are taking your time and really thinking about what you're reading. Because if you rush through your reading, I know a lot of people don't like to read, so they rush through it. And then when they get to the end, they get upset because they did bad on the questions. It's because you rushed through it and you didn't remember. Take your time, remember? So this is kind of just to help you take your time. It'll ask you questions about kind of what just happened. If you get it wrong, it'll tell you and it'll make you get it right. Like you'll get it right eventually. And then you hit continue and move on. And it'll reveal the rest of the story for you and you can read it. So read that and then answer the questions. There's 5 questions. The last one is a written question, I think I'm going to actually not have that involved in yours. So you guys should be good. So you should just have 4 questions about the story. Then you'll open up to another story called Funeral, and you guys will answer this one. And it's the same thing. This one's also short, simple, easy. Answer the guided questions. Pay attention to the story. These stories are all about theme. The theme is extremely important to these questions. So make sure you're reading and make sure you're trying to figure out what is the author telling you. Not what have they said, not what's happening directly in the story, but what's literally going on, right? That's what's important. What is the message that they're wanting you to understand about the story? Okay, so that's all you guys have for this week. Pretty simple week. Next week, we will do a new lesson. Be ready. I still have some people that need to pick up their stuff from class, and it's going to be really hard to do your work if you don't have your workbook and everything. So next week, you will definitely 100% need those. But good job this week. Make sure you're turning your work in. If you don't get your work in this Friday, I'm going to send out emails. I'm going to start calling parents saying like, hey, you have a bad grade. Why? Because you're not doing your work. Okay, so get it done. Good job, guys. You're doing awesome. Keep it up. I miss y'all, and I hope you guys have a good rest of the week. Reach out to me if you need anything. We'll have a Google Meet on Friday at 11, so join it. Bye.